Everyone? Okay, so I'll describe how I define AI, talk about the devices we have used in the past, but then give you my point of view. Yeah, that's good. Give you my point of view on what the next device should be. We'll have a quick discussion, and I'll leave you with some open questions. We have a long day. I'll be around, so we can continue the discussion. Let's start with a quiz. When was the first time internet was created? Doc cannot answer. Anybody else? Internet, yes. 1960s, 70s, 81. Okay. When we say internet, we mean TCP/IP, right? When we say web, we mean the browser. So TCP/IP was created in 1983. The first web browser came in 93, 94. Yeah, can we turn down the lights? Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, you're keeping track of time, right, Matt? Okay, just checking. Okay, so when TCP/IP came about, it was in research institutions and universities, and it was like puttering around. Once we got the World Wide Web, the growth took off. So you needed the UX for the technology to come into its own. When did the first mobile phone come out? 74, 81, 85, okay. The first mobile phone came out in 1973. This gentleman, Marty Cooper, happens to be my neighbor in San Diego. Last year was the 50-year anniversary of the first mobile phone. Mobile phones were puttering around until we got the first Blackberries and iPhones. So it took 30 years for mobile phones to take off because they were waiting for the UX. We can say the same thing about cloud. AWS was created in 2003. Took 10 years when we had enough devices for the cloud to start taking off. So now, let's switch to AI. When did AI first come around? 50s, yeah. So early 50s. This gentleman has the honor of coining the term algorithm. And Alan Turing comes later, a couple years later. That's when the Turing test came about. How many of you know the Turing test? Yeah. Okay, everybody. This is our advanced audience. Christopher Starchree, he defined artificial intelligence and the word algorithm. Then Mr. Turing, a couple years later, defined the Turing test. You have the machine and the man at the time, in two different rooms, and you had to tell the difference. But most people, this is not a good crowd, not a representative crowd. Most people didn't know about AI until the browser moment, until the iPhone moment, until the UX came about. That's the ChatGPT moment. It took 70 years. So AI is actually older than internet, mobile, cloud. A lot of work has been done. So all this, BS about AI is not ready and so on and so forth is BS. AI is actually quite robust. But because it is getting so much attention, you will always find some fault. So we are in the AI revolution. It took the UX for AI to take off. Top 3 or 4 trends. Number 1, the slope is faster than internet, mobile, cloud. So when people say it is bigger than those previous 3 revolutions, it's not an opinion. It's based on data, right? It's absolutely true. Number 2 is the modern mobile phone happened in Silicon Valley. Then it was exported every place. The internet happened in Silicon Valley. It was exported, or the browser happened in Silicon Valley, exported every place. Cloud happened in Seattle and the Bay Area, exported every other place.
I'm sorry, none of that's true. I spent 30 years in Silicon Valley devising and creating new things that people have never seen before. I wrote my first fucking AI system in 1975. You forgot about Marvin Minsky. You forgot about Winston. You haven't talked about a lot of the things.
Opportunity for some panel and some audience.
Yeah, no, it's okay. What's your name?
I'm Bill.
Bill.
So AI has been working. The Japanese spent $4 billion back in the 70s to try to create AI.
Yeah.
We had Ops 5, we had Prolog, we had Lisp. Talk about the beginning of Lisp.
Yeah, so Bill, you are right, and I'm right. I think you're talking about it from a technology perspective. I'm talking about it from a business, awareness, adoption perspective. The adoption of AI, for example, the awareness of AI didn't really exist 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. Most people don't know that when you go to Amazon or when you go to Uber, they were using AI. That is the reason Google got such a bad rap, even though they've had AI for the longest time. So both of us are right. It's just a different lens to look at, right? So I'm a business guy. I'm not as smart as you on the technical side. From a business perspective, when I say it took 70 years, it is accurate. But what you are saying is also accurate. So in this situation, both of us are right.
So you're saying that the public now talks about AI when we've been using AI in all manner of systems for 50 years?
Yes, what I'm saying is this crowd is very technically savvy. Like everybody knows Turing test. When you go to Kansas City, they are not. So when I say AI, I'm talking about the general public. And they didn't know about AI until ChatGPT moment happened. Right? Same thing for internet, same thing for mobile, etc. Okay? I'm here for the day, so I'm happy to debate over coffee. Okay. So going back here, AI is happening in more than 100 countries at the same time. I was in Mexico City, I was in China, I was in India. Everybody has their own LLM. They have their own R&D. They're not waiting around for Silicon Valley or some US entity to show them the way. The good news is, so it is happening much faster. We cannot say we are going to slow down because then China will take over, right? The bad news is when you're trying to develop some technology at the same time in 100 different places, there will be fragmentation. So something we'll have to deal with. Next, seldom does a new technology get investment from big companies and startups, from nonprofits and universities. This is very different. And last but not the least, we don't have to debate this. It is affecting every region, every person, every vertical. So the question is not, should I embrace it? The question is, what am I going to do about it? Right? Okay, so this is how I map like 100 years of AI. So AI started, as Bill said, in early 50s. The definition of AI was rules-based, expert systems, and so on. Then over the last 20 years or so, when we said AI, we really meant ML, we meant big data. This is what happened with cloud. Now when we say AI, actually, when you do Google search, there's a lot of AI. But when we say AI, we typically mean generative AI. At least the general public means generative AI. And we are already beginning to talk about AGI, when the machine is going to be smarter than humans. So I think of this as, we have been in the invisible storm. The storm has been brewing. You and I have been using it every time we take a Uber drive. It was invisible to most of us. Now with generative AI, each one of us is becoming a creator. We can create poetries and images and video and animation and code and proteins and so on. And then people are talking about the age of abundance. So this crowd is very smart, so I'm going to skip this. Rules-based, if you have fever, you might get measles. You know how ML and Google works. Large language model and generative AI absolutely are disrupting every vertical. My favorite example is healthcare, where drug discovery and early detection and these kind of things are truly transforming and will truly transform the benefits over the next few years. And then famous people are talking about us not needing to work 5 days or 6 days or 7 days. We will be so much more productive that, if you work 3 days, you'll get the same amount of work done. So this is how I frame AI in my mind. Now the question is, how do I access this AI? So some of us, we grew up in the mainframe era. We moved to the desktop PC era. In the 1990s, laptops really started taking over. And we used to think of laptops as the center of our device universe. We had other devices, but to access the internet, the laptop is the place you went to. Over the last, let's say, 10 years, the 2010s was really the mobile decade, where the smartphone became the device you would drive back for if you accidentally left without it and jumped in your car. That's how most of us access the internet today. Actually, if you go to places like China and India, their first taste of the internet came on the mobile phone, not on the PC. So that's the center of our universe. Now the question is, in the AI age, how might the center of our universe change? Will it be the PC? Will it be the phone? Will it be something else? So I would argue that it is something else. It has these characteristics. The form factor is TBD, but the successful device, the next generation AI device, will have these things. So let me run through each one of them. And Matt, I got your signal. So personalized. With AI, it's really sample size of 1. The device knows who I am, where I've been, where I'm going, knows about my calendar, knows about my email and so on. It knows my friends, what they like, what they don't like. That gives the device the full context about me. And so how I interact with the device, what I see on the device, how the UX looks, will be unique to one. And we'll talk about that in the context of personal AI. Oops, I'm running behind. By the way, I used my favorite app to give me a picture of personalized AI device. This is what it gave. But I know it will look sleeker. Okay, second, certainly over the last 20 years, 15 years, we have lived in the app economy. Literally, my iPhone has 10 or 12 screens, and menus of screens. The problem is, those apps generally don't talk to each other. From our API perspective, yes, everybody has the same GPS coordinate, but they don't talk to each other. That's not very interesting. So I think where we are moving to is a agent-based user experience. And there are a couple of examples. How many of you know of Multi-On? Okay, it's a startup out of Stanford. You basically ask it to do something, send an email to Reza saying I'll be late by 10 minutes. It figures out which app to go to, what to do, draft the email, send it. If you want to review it, you can do that. How many of you know about Rabbit, R1 device, right? So Rabbit is doing the same thing. These guys came up with a device, and it's agent-based. Apps are there, but they're hidden. You and I don't have to bother, right? I think this is where we are moving. You just tell it what you want to get done. It does it for you. The interesting thing is, the app infrastructure is not changing. So Uber is not changing. And, all these apps are not changing. It is how you talk to them, how you access through the protocols. That's changing. It's transparent to the app guy and to you. It just gets it done. Number 3. So we used to rely on the keyboard. Then we have mainly been relying on touch. I don't think we are going to another UX framework. I think we are going to multimodal UX. How many of you know of Humane, the AI pen? Some of you. So it's using projection. You can show text. You can, of course, talk to it. You can have some controller. You can use gestures. Different devices will have different combinations, but in general, the next device will have multimodal input, and that goes along with multimodal AI that there is so much discussion about. So the personal AI has to support multimodal AI, multimodal input. Number 3, I've been in the mobile industry for a long time. We have been talking about personal assistants for a long time. It has not been possible so far with AI with personal AI, it absolutely will happen. I've worked on humane AI pen for the last 3 or 4 years. And the first device, you see only a very small portion of what is possible. It really adapts to who you are, how you interact, etc. So the true one-to-one personal assistant is coming with these devices. How many of you have heard of this company, NVIDIA? Who are they? NVIDIA is saying it's the cloud, right? Qualcomm and Intel are saying it's the edge. I think both of them are wrong. It's going to be the best of both worlds. It's going to be the hybrid solution. You want to do things at the edge when latency is important, when you want things done real time, when security is important, when power is important, when cost is important. But then you also want to go to the cloud, because that's how you can scale significantly. That's where you can get unlimited compute. So this either or is an interesting game, but in reality, we are going to the combination. So we have been talking about seamless experiences. All of my devices talking to each other. It has not really happened. If anything, Apple has done a good job. But once you move beyond the Apple ecosystem, like Android, terrible, right? I think with AI that will change. Because AI is about software, about experiences. Personal AI is about giving me a personalized experience across environments, devices, etc. This has to be fundamental. What about the form factor? There are lots of experiments today. You'll hear about the AI smartphone. You'll hear about the AI PC. You are seeing new devices emerge, like the humane pen, like Rabbit R1. I'm an early stage investor. I've seen some form factors that have not been publicly announced. I don't know what the winning form factor will be, but I do know it will be some kind of wearable. It is always on you. It's always with you. It's always connected. It does the 6 things I described. So last slide. Matt is getting nervous. I have my opinions, but I won't share them here. Happy to discuss over drinks. There are the big guys, NVIDIA and Qualcomm and Intel and so on. And then there are the small guys, Cerebras and Grok and so on. Who will win? Just building on the value chain. There are the big guys, Apple, Samsung. There are startups emerging. Who will win? The device guys, the platform guys, the big tech, small guys, Anthropic and Mistral and so on. Who will win? What we do know is the consumer will win. So we will have a new kind of device. It will have those characteristics. It will be some kind of wearable. These guys will fight it out. The consumer will win. We need this to happen. So our vision of personal AI gets adopted, embraced, and used, right? So I think the rest of the day we'll talk about software, but it's important to think about how we access that software. Thank you very much. My time is up.